Hey, Echo versus Outlier listeners. Harrison here.
And Natasha, as always. What's up, Harrison?
So, Natasha, quick question for you, and for everyone listening too. Have you ever, walked into a room and suddenly just felt this absolute dread that everyone, and I mean everyone, noticed that tiny coffee stain on your shirt? Or maybe that you tripped on the sidewalk, even when, honestly, probably no one else even saw it happen?
Oh my gosh, Harrison, are you kidding? Literally, just yesterday, I was convinced everyone was staring at this one stray hair that refused to stay put. I spent half the meeting trying to discreetly tuck it away, and I swear I thought it was glowing. It's like a classic, right? The everyone's watching me feeling.
Exactly. And the weird thing is, more often than not, no one actually noticed, or, they really didn't care. But in that moment, it feels like you're standing under the brightest, hottest spotlight imaginable.
Oh, definitely. Total full-on stage fright. Even when you're just, grabbing a yogurt from the fridge at work. It's wild the way our brains play these tricks on us.
And that, my friends, is what we're diving into today on Echo versus Outlier. It's episode 2, and we're tackling something psychologists call the spotlight effect. Everyone's watching you, but not really.
Get ready to feel seen, and then, honestly, probably a little relieved.
So, Natasha, you mentioned the stray hair, the coffee stain. It's truly amazing, isn't it, how our brains convince us these tiny things are like front-page news to everyone else.
Absolutely. It's instant paralysis sometimes. You're giving a presentation, right? And you stumble over a word, just one word. But in your head, it's this huge, glaring mistake. And you're just convinced everyone in the room noticed and they're judging you, and that's all they're thinking about.
Oh, completely. I've been there. The voice starts to waver, your hands get clammy, and you're just like, they can see my fear. Even though, statistically, most people are just thinking about their own coffee break or, what they're having for dinner.
Right. Or think about this. You're out to lunch, right? And you get a little bit of spinach or something stuck in your teeth or on your face even, and you don't realize it until you get back to the office. Then your mind just races. Oh my gosh, everyone saw it. My boss, the barista, that person I bumped into on the street.
Oh, the horror. The utter horror. And the thing is, you play it back in your head, and you're just positive that every single person you interacted with was silently scrutinizing your leafy smile. When in reality, they probably didn't even notice, or honestly, just didn't care.
Right? It's so intense, that feeling. And it's not just in person. What about, posting a photo online? You spend ages picking the perfect one, you filter it, you edit it, you write the caption, and then you post it. And immediately you're like, did I pose weird? Is my hair okay? Is that one person gonna think my caption is dumb?
Oh my goodness, the online spotlight effect is a whole other beast. You hit post, and then it's just this agonizing wait, isn't it? Like you're refreshing the page every 5 seconds, counting the likes, analyzing the comments, or the lack thereof. You become convinced everyone is dissecting your entire existence based on that one square image.
Totally. And if it doesn't get enough likes in the first hour, you start thinking, oh no, it's a flop. Everyone hates it. I should just delete it.
Yeah, that internal dialogue can get pretty loud. It's like our brains are hardwired to overestimate how much attention other people are paying to us. It's wild because we're all doing it to each other. So if we're all so busy worrying about ourselves, who's actually watching?
That's a good point. It's this universal experience, this kind of shared delusion almost. That imaginary spotlight follows us everywhere, making molehills feel like mountains. But why though? Why does our brain do that?
That's a great question, Natasha. And actually, it's something psychologists have studied quite a bit. There's this idea called, the spotlight effect, obviously.
Right. So it has a name. That makes me feel slightly less crazy.
Totally. And, a lot of it comes down to how our brains are wired. This cognitive psychologist, Thomas Gilovich from Cornell, he's done a lot of work on this. He's found that people consistently overestimate the extent to which their actions and appearance are noticed by others. It's like a built-in bias.
So it's not just us. It's a human thing. That's kind of comforting, actually. So Gilovich says we're just bad at judging how much attention we get?
pretty much. And it goes way back too. If you think about it from an evolutionary perspective, our ancestors, they needed to be super attuned to social cues. Back in hunter-gatherer times, being accepted by your tribe, fitting in, not messing up, that was literally a matter of survival, right? If you got cast out, you were in serious trouble.
Oh, yeah, definitely. So our brains developed to be hyper aware of what others might be thinking of us just as a survival mechanism. Is that rustling in the bushes a predator? And is my tribe giving me the side eye for, I don't know, picking the wrong berries?
Exactly. Our brains evolved to be really good at detecting threats, and back then, social threats were just as real as physical ones. So this tendency to magnify social attention, it's almost like a leftover alarm system. It's trying to keep us safe, even when the threat is just a perceived coffee stain.
Wow, so it's like an outdated operating system still running in the background. My brain is trying to protect me from social banishment because of a crumb on my face, even though, we live in cities now, not small tribes.
Pretty much. And because we're so focused on our own internal experience, our thoughts, our feelings, our anxiety about that potential stain, we mistakenly assume that everyone else is just as focused on us. But the truth is, everyone else is usually just as focused on themselves.
That's wild. So the psychological basis is basically self-centeredness, but in a totally innocent way. We're just overestimating our own impact on other people's mental real estate.
Yeah, you could say that. It's not malicious. It's just how our perception works. We're the center of our own universe, so it's hard to truly grasp that we're not the center of everyone else's. It's a cognitive bias, our brains are tricking us a little bit.
So it's not just about ego, it's about our brain trying to compute how the world works. And it's got some faulty wiring when it comes to social attention.
Exactly. And that faulty wiring, as you put it, can actually have some pretty significant consequences in our daily lives.
Ooh, tell me more. I mean, I can already think of a million small ways it impacts me, but what's the bigger picture?
Well, think about this for a second, Natasha. What if this fear of being watched, this constant, almost unconscious worry about how we're perceived, is actually steering your biggest life choices?
Whoa. Okay, that's a big heavy, Harrison. Are we talking about choosing a career because you think it'll impress someone, or avoiding one because you're scared of failure in public?
Precisely. It's not just a coffee stain or public speaking jitters. Those are just the visible tip of the iceberg, right? Underneath that, this overthinking about social perception, it can lead to some really serious stuff, like profound anxiety.
Yeah, I can totally see that. If you're always thinking everyone's judging you or watching your every move, that's gotta be exhausting and paralyzing.
It is. It can manifest as chronic anxiety, where you're constantly on edge, worrying about social blunders, even when there's no real threat. And then there's avoidance.
Avoidance. Not trying something new because you're scared of looking silly, or not speaking up in a meeting because you're worried about what people will think.
Bingo! You avoid situations where you feel exposed. Maybe you don't pursue that dream job, or you don't ask that person out, or you don't share that creative project, all because the perceived spotlight feels too intense. You choose not to act, which in itself is a choice.
And that's a huge consequence. It's not just feeling awkward for a second. It's about potentially missing out on your actual life because you're too busy performing for an audience that isn't really there.
Precisely. And that's why understanding this effect and figuring out how to, dim that glare is so important.
Absolutely. So, Harrison, how do we actually do that? How do we turn down the intensity of this imaginary spotlight? Give us some actionable stuff.
Okay, I got you. So first up, let's call this the observer's reality check.
Oh, I like that.
It's all about actively reminding yourself that most people are actually way too preoccupied with their own stuff, their own internal spotlights, to be scrutinizing your every move. Think about it. When you're out and about, how much time are you truly spending analyzing what someone else is wearing, or like if they stumbled?
Almost none, honestly, unless it's like super dramatic. And even then, it's a fleeting thought.
Exactly. Our brains are wired for self-preservation, so we tend to overestimate how much others care. So, the tactic is this. When you feel that spotlight shining, take a deep breath and mentally zoom out. Imagine the other person or people in the situation. What are they probably thinking about? Their grocery list, a meeting they have, what they're going to eat for dinner.
Probably not my messy bun.
Probably not. The cognitive load of constantly monitoring others is too high. Most people are operating on autopilot or consumed by their internal monologue. So a quick reality check helps you realize you're just not that central to their existence in a good way.
Okay, that's really grounding. Just thinking about it makes me feel a little lighter, like, oh right, they've got their own dramas.
Totally. And that leads us to tactic number 2, which I call embrace the micro flop.
The micro flop? I'm intrigued.
Yeah, like a tiny insignificant stumble or error. The idea here is to actually lean in to the minor imperfections instead of trying to be perfect and never make a mistake, which is impossible. Allow for small blunders. And when they happen, instead of catastrophizing, just let them be.
So if I mispronounce a word in a meeting, instead of replaying it 100 times later, I just move on.
Precisely. Or if you spill a tiny bit of coffee on your shirt, instead of obsessing, just, dab it, maybe even make a small self-deprecating comment and then immediately refocus on what you were doing. The more you practice letting these micro flops go, the more your brain learns that, hey, the sky didn't fall. Nobody actually cared.
That's actually brilliant because it kind of desensitizes you to the fear, doesn't it? You're proving to yourself that the consequences are minimal or even non-existent.
Right. It's exposure therapy for your ego. You're consciously choosing to allow for slight imperfections, and by doing so, you chip away at the belief that every action is being heavily scrutinized. It's about building resilience to the imagined judgment.
So basically, remember everyone else is in their own head, and if you do mess up a tiny bit, it's really, really not a big deal.
You got it. And the relief that comes from that realization, it's amazing.
So what we're really saying here is that the dazzling, intense spotlight we often feel is on us, it's mostly in our heads. We are, not constantly being analyzed and judged by everyone else.
Exactly. It's such a freeing thought, isn't it? To realize that, people are just not paying that much attention. And it's not a bad thing. It's actually a huge relief.
Total relief. And that's what Echo versus Outlier is all about, right? Shifting those perspectives, challenging those internal narratives.
Totally. So if you've ever felt that intense spotlight, that feeling of everyone watching, even when maybe they weren't, we want to hear about it.
We're talking about those awkward, embarrassing, or just plain self-conscious moments that, looking back, were probably way bigger in your head than in reality. Maybe it was that time you tripped in public, or said something weird in a meeting and replayed it for a week.
Yeah, meanwhile, no one else gave it a second thought. We want to hear your stories. Drop them in the comments or send us a voice message. And if this episode helped shift your perspective, hit that like button, subscribe, and share it with someone who might need to hear it too. Thanks for tuning in to Echo versus Outlier, where your brain gets gently challenged, one bias at a time. See you in the next one.